My friends, we are often fooled by the shape of a moment. We look at sorrow and call it defeat. We look at silence and call it abandonment. We look at waiting and call it wasted. But what if we are wrong about the shape of things? You are not at the end. You are at the edge of something being built in you, something you cannot yet name, but one day will recognize as the very thing that saved you. God does not deal in endings the way we do. We are quick to shut the book, cry finished, walk away, but God writes in chapters we haven't seen yet. He crafts in the dark what will later shine in the light. The pain you feel now, it is not a punishment. It is a preparation. The silence you hear now, it is not absence. It is the sound of heaven laying foundations in secret. Do you remember the seasons? The ground lies barren, frostbitten, dead. But underground, roots are at work. The trees do not panic. The flowers do not beg for bloom. They trust the deep rhythm of a greater design. So it is with you. You may feel hidden right now, tucked away in the shadowed corner of a life that used to feel bright. But God often hides what He is perfecting. What is forged in secret will stand in the storm. This moment, this trial, this ache, it is not senseless. It is not useless. It is not the end. God is not a careless author. He does not leave characters behind, nor does He waste ink. If He is delaying, He is deepening. If He is withholding, He is refining. If He is silent, He is stretching your soul so that it may hold more than it did before. We want rescue, but He offers resurrection. We want escape, but He offers endurance. We want answers, but He gives us Himself. Let me ask you something difficult. What if the very thing you are begging Him to remove is the soil in which your purpose is growing? We often ask for strength and then curse the weight. But muscle is born through resistance. Faith is born through fire, and souls are shaped through the long, slow turning of unseen gears. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. So do not fear the middle of your story. Do not fear the waiting room of God. The waiting is not a pause. It is a process. The delay is not denial. It is design. Lift your head, even if it's heavy. Hold on, even if it's only by a thread. Whisper if you must, but say this. This is not the end. God is preparing me. Say it when the night feels endless. Say it when the door doesn't open. Say it when the mountain doesn't move. Say it when your hands are empty and your heart is tired. Because one day you will look back and realize what felt like breaking was really building. What felt like silence was sacred work. What felt like loss was love laboring on your behalf. And you will say, with clear eyes and a steadied soul, He was with me the whole time, and this was never the end. Amen. This is not the end, it is preparation. This is not the end, it is preparation. It's easy to mistake the feeling of finality for truth. When we lose something dear, a dream, a relationship, a sense of certainty, we often say, this must be the end. We reach the edge of what we understand, and because we can see no road ahead, we assume there is none. But endings are rarely what they seem to be. Often, they are doorways in disguise. They are the threshold over which God begins something hidden, quiet, slow, and holy. The world teaches us to look for progress, for proof that things are moving forward in a straight line, but the life of the soul doesn't follow such neat patterns. God does not write our stories with the efficient logic of a machine. He shapes them with the wisdom of eternity. What looks like a dead end to us may be a fertile valley to Him. What looks like collapse may be the soft soil in which something far more beautiful is being planted. We live in a world of instant results and immediate gratification. We want answers now. We want solutions without suffering, purpose without pain. But God's way is more deliberate, more mysterious. He is not concerned with how quickly we reach comfort. He is concerned with how deeply we are transformed. And transformation rarely happens in moments of ease. It takes place in the dark, in the silent, in the still, when we think nothing is happening at all. Many of us cry out in the dark seasons, begging for rescue. But the kind of rescue we ask for is often the removal of discomfort, the sudden lifting of the burden. We want an escape hatch, but God, in His kindness, offers us something far better: preparation. He is not content with temporary relief. He is preparing our character, our hearts, our endurance, our vision. He is preparing us to carry the things we do not yet know we'll need to carry. This time you are walking through, however barren it feels, is not without purpose. God does not waste time, nor does He waste sorrow. If you are in the wilderness, you can be certain that it is not a detour. It is a design. He brings people into the wilderness to shape them for the work that is ahead. Just as the Israelites wandered for years before reaching the promised land, and just as Christ Himself fasted in the desert before stepping into His ministry, so too are we called into preparation before fulfillment. The world might look at your life right now and call it stuck. You might look at your own reflection and wonder where the momentum went. But speed is not the measure of growth. Hiddenness is not the same as stagnation. Just because you cannot see progress doesn't mean you aren't being prepared. The roots of great trees grow deep before they ever stretch toward the sky. The foundation of a cathedral is laid long before the steeple is ever visible. So it is with you. God is not in a hurry. He is more patient than we are comfortable with. He is willing to let the process be slow because He knows what it will yield. He is not interested in giving you a fragile blessing that your character cannot support. He would rather wait until the vessel of your life is strong enough to hold the glory He intends to pour into it. He would rather prepare you in obscurity than see you collapse under the weight of a premature success. Sometimes we confuse stillness with abandonment. We think that if nothing is happening, God must not be near. But this is a lie born of impatience. God is often most active when we feel Him least. Just as seeds are pressed beneath the soil, invisible to the world while quietly breaking open and reaching for life, so too are we pressed into places that feel like endings, while something unseen begins to grow. The pressure is not punishment, it is preparation. We are not being delayed for no reason. We are not wandering aimlessly. We are being made ready, ready for the next task, the next calling, the next challenge, the next joy. And readiness takes time. You cannot rush wisdom. You cannot microwave maturity. The kind of strength that endures storms is forged over seasons, not seconds. There will be voices that tell you to give up, that this is it, that your story has run dry. They will say your best days are behind you, that the chapter has closed. But they are wrong, because God is still writing, and He does not end on loss. He is the author of resurrection, of reversal, of the plot twist no one expected. And even when the world declares the end, heaven may simply be turning the page. You don't need to see how it all comes together yet. You don't need to know what's next to trust that something is happening now. What matters is that you don't mistake the middle for the finish. What matters is that you don't let despair name the season. The hands that formed the stars are still forming you, and they never drop what they begin. This is not the end. It only feels final because your eyes have not yet adjusted to the shape of hope being born in the shadows. You are being readied, whether you feel it or not. And when the time comes, you will rise with a strength that could only have come from the hidden, the quiet, the sacred work being done in you now. God hides what He is perfecting. God hides what He is perfecting. There is something deeply unsettling about being unseen. In a world that glorifies visibility, performance, and platform, to be hidden can feel like failure. When we are passed over, set aside, or tucked away in seasons of silence, we often wonder if something is wrong. We question our worth, our purpose, our direction. Yet in the divine economy, hiddenness is not a curse. It is a craft. It is how God shapes those he loves before he entrusts them with more. When he hides you, he is not ignoring you. He is working on you in the secret place. We tend to equate value with exposure. If people see us, we matter. If people applaud us, we are affirmed. But God does not operate by that system. He is not building your life for show. He is building it for substance. He is not interested in a life that looks impressive but collapses under pressure. He is interested in forming something lasting, rooted, and real. And the most enduring things are formed away from applause, in the quiet dark where no one but God is watching. Think of how God prepared David, anointed as king while still a boy, yet sent back to the fields to tend sheep. No throne, no army, no crown, just solitude, obscurity, and long days with animals. But that field became his training ground. In that isolation, he learned to hear the whisper of God. He learned courage through defending sheep from lions and bears. He learned humility, patience, and the rhythm of a heart after God's own. When the moment finally came for him to step into public calling, he wasn't suddenly gifted with strength. He had already been made ready in the place no one else had seen. We want public affirmation before private transformation. But God, in his mercy, does the reverse. He does not rush his work in us because he knows that what is forged in hiddenness will not be shaken by visibility. He hides what he is perfecting, not because he is ashamed of it, but because it is precious. Like a jeweler keeping the finest gem locked away while he cuts and polishes it, God holds the unveiling of your life until the time is right, until the beauty matches the purpose. Consider Jesus himself. 30 years in silence before 3 years in public ministry, the Son of God, sinless, perfect, powerful, hidden in an ordinary family, working an ordinary job, living in a town no one esteemed. Why would God veil such glory for so long? Because the depth of a calling must match the depth of a soul. Even Jesus was not revealed prematurely. Even Jesus, though perfect, submitted to preparation through hiddenness. How much more, then, must we be willing to embrace it? Hiddenness is not inactivity. It is not the absence of progress. It is a different kind of progress, one that does not show on the surface, but is shaping the core. Roots grow underground long before a tree breaks through the soil. The strongest parts of any structure are the ones you never see. Foundations must be laid before walls can rise, and so it is with your life. If God is hiding you, it is not because you are lost. It is because he is building something in you that must be strong enough to last when the winds come. We often want to be seen before we are truly ready, but visibility without maturity is a burden, not a blessing. What God hides, he hides because it is still becoming. Just as a child in the womb is not exposed to the world until the time is full, so too are the works of God hidden until their fullness has come. Premature exposure leads to damage. Timing is not just about opportunity, it is about protection. The world may never applaud the hidden hours of your faithfulness, the nights you cried out to God in silence, the decisions you made when no one else was watching, the obedience you walked in without reward. But God sees all of it, and he does not forget. Nothing hidden from man is hidden from him. In fact, it is often in the hidden places that the most sacred moments occur. That's where he refines motives, purifies desires, strips away pride, and roots your identity in him alone. Do not despise the season when no one notices. That season may be the very thing that keeps you grounded when the time comes for you to be noticed. It is a gift, not a punishment. It is grace in disguise. God is not preparing you for applause. He is preparing you for assignment, and the greater the assignment, the deeper the work He must do within. There is something holy about knowing that your worth does not come from being seen. When you can worship, love, serve, and give without recognition, you are becoming like Christ. When you can be still in the shadow, trusting that the light will come when it should, you are learning to live from faith, not validation. God is not trying to embarrass you by hiding you. He is honoring you with preparation. He sees potential you cannot yet see in yourself, and so He pulls you into a season that feels small in order to build in you a strength that will not bend under the weight of your calling. You are not buried, you are planted. The soil may feel heavy, the darkness may feel endless, but something is happening beneath the surface. Every quiet prayer, every tear, every moment of surrender, He is using it. He is not slow, He is exact. He is not absent, He is intentional, and the more deeply He hides you, the more profoundly He is shaping what you will become. Delays are not denials, they are designs. Delays are not denials, they are designs. We live in a world that moves fast, expects faster, and grows impatient with anything that requires waiting. We associate progress with motion, success with speed, and blessing with immediacy. When something is delayed, when a prayer goes unanswered, a door stays shut, or a dream is put on hold, we often assume rejection. We tell ourselves it must not be meant to be, or worse, that we are not good enough, faithful enough, worthy enough to receive it. But God does not equate delay with denial. His delays are not dismissals. They are designs meant to shape us, shield us, and ready us for what is coming. Delay is one of the oldest tools in God's hands. He used it with Abraham, whose promise of a son came decades before the child arrived. He used it with Joseph, who saw visions of leadership but spent years as a slave and prisoner before those dreams came to life. He used it with Moses, whose calling to deliver his people came long before Pharaoh would listen. In every case, the delay was not a mistake. It was not God changing His mind. It was preparation, arrangement, refinement. It was grace disguised as time. When we experience delay, we are tempted to think we've been forgotten. But forgetting is a human flaw, not a divine one. God does not misplace His promises. He does not lose track of time. Every moment that passes is accounted for in His design. What we call waiting, He calls working. What we label inactivity, He names intention. There are things we can only learn in delay, lessons in patience, trust, humility, and resilience. These are not side effects of waiting, they are the very purpose of it. Delay reveals things about us that success never could. It uncovers our motives. It tests the roots of our faith. It exposes the things we cling to and the things we must release. If you only follow God when the blessings flow, then your loyalty is to outcomes, not to Him. But when you walk with Him through delay, when you choose to trust without evidence, when you worship in silence, then you are being purified. You are learning what it means to love God for who He is, not just for what He gives. We often try to push through delay, to force open doors, to rush the process. But forced fruit is never sweet. It lacks the richness of ripeness, the depth that only time can create. God is not interested in giving you a gift that your character cannot yet carry. If He delays, it is because He sees something you do not. He sees the unseen risks, the premature exposure, the half-formed character. He knows that waiting is not a waste, it is a womb. It is the space in which maturity grows and wisdom takes root. Sometimes we don't realize how unready we are until we are asked to wait. Delay brings this to the surface. It shows us where we demand control, where we rely on timing more than trust. It calls us to surrender, not a passive giving up, but an active leaning in, a surrender that says, I do not need to know when, because I know who. I do not need to understand how, because I know why, because God is always good, always wise, always working for something higher than I can yet see. There are prayers that are not answered yet, not because they are wrong, but because the moment is not right. The yes is still in process. The pieces are still coming together. Your heart is still being shaped to hold the answer when it comes. God is aligning things beyond your field of vision. Conversations you haven't heard, opportunities you haven't imagined, people you haven't met. Delay is often the intersection of divine orchestration. It may look like nothing is happening, but heaven is in motion. One of the most dangerous lies we believe is that delay means disqualification. We begin to question whether we missed our chance, whether we took the wrong turn, whether God has moved on to someone else. But the God who called you is not fickle. He does not revoke his call based on how long it takes you to arrive. He is patient beyond measure. If the vision still burns within you, then it is still alive. If the promise still stirs your heart, then it is not dead. It is developing. Even nature reflects this truth. The most beautiful things do not grow quickly. Trees that last for centuries take years to root and rise. Diamonds are formed under pressure, in darkness, over time. Oceans carve coastlines not in hours, but in ages. The deepest beauty requires delay because it is not shallow. It is built to endure, so it is with you. You are being formed into something that will last, something that can stand. You are not being held back. You are being held in place until the ground beneath you is strong enough to support what God will place on it. Delay invites us into intimacy. When the road is long, we must walk closer to God. When the outcome is uncertain, we must press in to hear His voice. When the finish line is far, we must rely on daily grace, not distant goals. In this way, delay does not distance us from God, it draws us near. It shifts our attention from what we want to who we need. It turns our timeline into a testimony. You may not see the purpose now. The silence may feel heavy, but time in God's hands is never passive. It is active with intention, full of unseen movement. You are not being passed over. You are being preserved. The delay you are experiencing is not empty. It is saturated with meaning, covered with divine fingerprints, and destined to produce something greater than you would have settled for if God had answered too soon.